Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, every 2 or 3 months I do a video that's usually begins with the words "My MAGA barber." Okay, let me paint you the picture. About a week ago, I did a video talking about small towns, like the small town I grew up in and used to live in, a small town in Connecticut of 7,000 people. I hate to really talk about this, but I have to be honest too. I love the town and I was born there, but it's changed. It used to be, it's called Thomaston. They make Seth Thomas. It was originally founded by the maker of clocks. And my grandfather was a hardworking Democrat. He was a carpenter, a cabinet builder for the grandfather clocks. He worked there years ago. And it used to be a hardworking blue collar town with a lot of rents, single, modest, one family homes. It was a working man's town. Nowadays, it's full of McMansions, smaller, I wouldn't call them mansions, but homes with 2 or 3 brand new SUVs in the driveway. I do a lot of walking around town, and I'm not exaggerating here. Our camping RVs, boats in the driveway. And these are the same people that are complaining about the price of eggs or complaining about illegal immigrants when this town is 99% Caucasian. I don't know if any of these people have ever actually even seen a person from Mexico. And they're all worried about illegal immigrants and the price of eggs, with $200,000 worth of vehicles in their driveway. Seriously, okay? So I go to the barber. I'm just used to going there. I've been going to this, it's not the same guy, but it's the same shop that's been there since I was a kid. So I go there to get my hair cut every couple months. And I've been putting off going back there because of what happened last time. Now, the guy that owns it now, this little shorter guy, same age as me, similar to me in a lot of ways, except he is a Trump supporter, a big MAGA fan. And I have to listen to his rhetoric every time I go there. And usually there's other people from the town that are in there talking, it's about 5 or 6 Caucasian, older Gen Xers, baby boomers, all saying disgusting, racist stuff. Usually. I hate to say this, but it's the truth. And it's gotten to the point where I've been looking for other barbers, but it's hard to find somebody that I could. At almost 60 years old, I don't like change. I get anxiety when I have to change anything. So I'm kind of torn between the anxiety of changing my barber and having to go back into this mega barber shop. Okay, so I've been dreading going back there because last time was especially bad. I had I made the bad decision of going there to get my hair cut a few days after the November election. The presidential election last year, probably about 2 or 3 days after the election. And this is no exaggeration. This guy was literally dancing, jumping up and down in the barber shop, ranting and raving. I'm not exaggerating. He was seriously saying, how we're all going to be rich. We're all going to have so much more money. He actually, I tip, the haircut there is $20. And I always tip at least $5 or $6. I tip at least 25 to 30%. Every time, regardless of the haircut. I'm a big tipper. And he actually had the audacity to say to me, he says, well, I'll be making so much money, you could give me even bigger tip next time you come. Because Trump, we're all going to be rich. In the last video I talked about with Zelensky, the last video I just did, I talked about how Americans have lost the importance of loyalty and honor, like sticking by our allies. And instead, it's become all about the accumulation of wealth and greed. We're not wanting to pay their fair share of taxes. So last time I was there, everybody there was about 3 or 4 other similar guys in there, all just with the rhetoric, the MAGA rhetoric. The libs are crying. Seriously. So I'm just sitting there, quiet. I know that I know I'm in enemy territory. And I was dreading going back there, because that's how I left last time. All right, so I've been putting off going to get putting off going to get my hair cut. If you noticed, like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, my hair was getting ridiculously, it was getting bushy on top and hard to control because I didn't want to go back to this damn MAGA barber shop, especially after last time. I just, I get enough anxiety having to listen to this whole Trump world now. Okay, so I go back and I walk in the door and it's immediately I am struck. This MAGA barber almost looks smaller. He almost looks deflated to me. His whole aura, his whole demeanor is different. The last time, he's short. He comes about up to here on me. And he was boisterous. He actually said this. He had the audacity to say this to me last time. He was so cocky, knowing that I'm a liberal and everything. And I'm paying him to cut my hair. This is last time I went there. I told him this is how I want it cut. I say, you do a good job. My family told me, they liked my haircut. I got a lot of compliments from women on Facebook. I cut it like this. I showed him a picture. I actually showed him a selfie from last time I left. I cut like this. And he actually said, this is just, I can't wrap my mind around this. This is what he said. I said, my family loved it. People loved it. He actually said this. He said, you sure they weren't just making fun of you? And he's the one that cut my hair. He's, so he's all, what he's almost ranking on himself. That's the kind of boisterous, rambunctious, offensive, MAGA mood he was in last time. I go in this time and he is just deflated. He's timid. All right. So he's cutting somebody else's hair yesterday when I went in. And I sit down, I'm watching TV. He's always got Fox News or, those other, I don't know what they are, those 2 or 3, Bree Bart or whatever they are, the MAGA news on. And the person finishes in front of me. And the first thing he says to me as I'm getting up in the chair, he goes, so did you see the release of those Epstein files? And I check the news every morning to do this video, what's going on in the news, what's going on in conservative land, what's going on in liberal land, to do this video. And I had read about Trump's Justice Department releasing the Epstein files, and I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. Most of it was redacted, and and this is years ago. He hung himself. It's over. I'm more worried about Andrew Tate coming into this country. Trump letting Andrew Tate back into this country. This guy is a misogynist. I can't even say what he is. It's a monetized channel. I can't even say what he traffics. So he asked me about that. And I just said, I can't make heads or tails of it. And the MAGA barber seems upset. I think they're all latched onto this conspiracy, the deep state thing, that they want to see these names of like Obama and Clinton, and they're just dying to see somehow to connect them, to make it some deep state cabal that was in collusion with Epstein. That's what they're looking for. And he was all upset that they didn't find that in the release of these Epstein tapes or Epstein files yesterday. So what I did say, I said, well, what about Andrew Tate? Trump, you want to talk about people that are trafficking other people? Let's talk about Andrew Tate. Trump is letting him back in the country. And he almost pretends like he doesn't know who Andrew Tate is. Tate, he's a guy from Romania. He knows damn well who Andrew Tate is. He doesn't really want to talk about Andrew Tate. Then he says this to me. He says he's the one that's got so much. These guys, this is what I'm talking about. These guys are so obsessed. These MAGA Gen Xers like me are so obsessed with wealth. He starts talking about how Andrew Tate has so much money and nice cars, and how did he make all that money and everything. Then he says this to me. He says one of my buddies is a big follower of Nick Fuentes. Right? And he goes, you know who Nick Fuentes is? He asked me. I said, yeah, I know who Nick is. I've done plenty of videos here. First thing I think of when I hear the name Nick Fuentes is I think of a little equipment on a guy. Because that's what I see when I see Nick Fuentes. All the stuff, the way he tries to, take control of women. It makes me think that he's got a small package. It really does. And that's the first thing that goes through my mind. And he tells me, the MAGA barber tells me, he says, one of my friends is a big Nick Fuentes fan. That's embarrassing to me, right? And he says, Nick is the next guy that's going to be really rich, really, he's going to be the next Andrew Tate. He's going to be the next wealthy, and this guy's almost salivating over the money and the misogyny, the misogynistic these misogynistic SOBs, you know, that they actually worship these guys. Again, the first thing that goes through my head is these guys must have small units. I think the way they're so angry and distrusting of women is, I believe, is because they think women are talking amongst themselves and laughing because they have small units. That's really what I think. And, you know, I think, God, it must suck to be born short and with a small package. And so that's pretty much it. The rest of the conversation didn't go into any more politics, you know, which was unusual. Like I said, he almost appeared deflated and timid yesterday, you know, and it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting him to be boisterous and, you know, Trump this and Trump that, but he wasn't. You know, is it actually sinking in? Is it actually sinking in that, you know, the prices didn't go down the first day like he promised? You know, that all that's happening now is they're tearing apart our government, taking away. The richest man in the world is literally taking food out of less poverty level people's mouths. You know, that's what's going on in this country right now. You know, and I even mentioned yesterday about the Consumer Protection Bureau. You know, why would anybody in their right mind delete the Consumer Protection Bureau? How is that possibly good for Americans? You know, is it worth sucking up their salaries, the money they were getting paid? Like, we're going to get some kind of refund check? Unfreaking believable. More and more, I see these guys centered on other people accumulating wealth, you know, instead of more important things like love, diversity, equity, inclusion, loyalty, honor, stuff like that. You know, you can't buy that stuff with money. That's my thoughts for today, my MAGA barber. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Have a good Sunday.